What is the difference between divorce and dementia? Divorce, if you look up, it means to separate. Well, dementia, if we look at dementia in the body, especially in the brain, we lose gray and white matter. It is a separation of the mind from the body, right? You know, someone who's going through dementia, they forget who they are, they have a divorce from their identity, who they are. So when you're in crisis, like years ago, and I think that you can apply this nutritional option to any circumstance that you're in, any issue that you're in, does it help to connect with your cells and what they're made of through 911 nutrition. This is basically like a carnivore diet approach. I am biased because of the way that this has helped me feel over the years, but this is what our body's made of. If you're going through an identity crisis, like you don't know who you are, you feel like you're in separation from your peace and your rest in your nervous system, buckle down into your nutrients. Like the amount of nutrients that we get in our diet, the way that we move our bodies and interact with the environment, it's our perception. It's our perception of ourselves. It's our perception of others. It's your perception of your life as a whole. Being able to find the good. You have to have energy in your body to be able to find the silver linings, to be able to see around you, to be grateful, right? These expressions of our nature, these emotions that are elevated and higher, like gratitude and peace and all these other things, like it takes energy to feel that way. It's easy to be afraid, initially easy to be afraid. It's easier to feel anger and sadness than it is to take an extra step and say, well, I do realize that there is all this stuff around me, but let me take it one step further and see what can I find in the environment that's appreciative. It takes energy to do that, right? It takes energy to hold the door open for somebody if they're coming behind you, or to pick up something that somebody dropped, It takes energy, and like, where does that energy come from? It comes from our food. We call these essential amino and fatty acids. So these are the essential amino acids, and the only full profile that we can get in a decent amount is going to be from our animal-based proteins. Of course, this also includes the B vitamin complex, and getting enough of like methionine and lysine to build enough carnitine for the mitochondrial transport chain is so important. In the mitochondria, that's where we produce majority of the energy of the cell. And then we have non-essential and conditional amino acids. So what does this mean if they're non-essential or they're just conditional? What does that mean? Like, well, if you get enough of the essential amino acids, our bodies, through our central metabolism, we can create amino acids in our body. We can create and break down from this essential list. We can break down and create non-conditional essential. Isn't that amazing? Like, you're a biochemist, and a lot of the times we look at these non-essential lists and conditional lists, and you'll find this in supplemental forms because people say, oh, this will help for immune function. This will help build your hormones. It's like, yes, all of this helps synthesize and build our hormones. It helps our immune function. And how much energy does it take for you to be in your most beautiful state of mind? It takes so much energy. Like, you are a biochemist. You didn't need to go to school for it because you were born a biochemist. You came out with a breath of life. You came out with the ability to move. And with every breath and every step that you take, every thought that you have, you're creating and building your own biochemistry. So I came to study nutrition through my own struggles with depression and anxiety, through my own struggles with my body and where I was in my physical place. And I found that not only learning about the biochemistry, learning about the medication that I was taking for anxiety and depression and acne medication as well, learning in it about where that comes from in food, I take a more animal-based protein diet approach. I started this approach and it has not failed me. I've talked to many other people. I've seen so many people within the last few years. You can go online and find so many accounts of people who have autoimmune diseases and all these types of things, like these weird chronic skin, eczema, all these conditions. They've tried, they had enough. It just takes you having enough and being willing to try something different. And these people, they try something different like the carnivore diet and they regain their energy back, because our cells, like I heard this quote today, your mitochondria doesn't care about your ethics, you know? It doesn't care if you think a plant-based diet is going to help you build your body back to a good state of health. Your biology is not biased to any diet, okay? Like the mitochondria, second step of the electron transport chain is carnitine. Carnitine is found in higher amounts of animal-based proteins and includes the amino acids that we talked about, lysine and methionine. So if you're not getting enough lysine and methionine, the body does not have enough raw material to synthesize carnitine, which is the second step of the electron transport chain. And why is it important for these mitochondria to be working? Because this is where we're going to have most of our inflammation. If the mitochondria aren't working properly, if they aren't happy, that cell, like a brown leaf of the plant, it's not going to function properly. And if it's not functioning properly, confusion is total. Confusion is total. So you're either in a healthy state or you're not. And you know, there's always like gray area, like, you know, our bodies, like taking back to dementia again, okay? Dementia and Alzheimer's actually sets in decades prior to any symptoms setting in. This divorce and this separation within the self starts decades prior. Through what mechanism? It's through a lack of energy getting into the cell, something we call insulin resistance. What is the number way to help your body become insulin sensitive? To put on muscle. To put on muscle to help regulate your glucose levels, regulate your oxygen levels, and to have that good blood flow and that movement, right? Our muscle serves as battery packs for the brain. It serves as battery packs for our immune function, right? Our muscle is known as our biggest endocrine organ, right? Biggest endocrine organ. And I was explaining this to someone the other day. They were like, I really want to lose weight. They were like, I really want to gain muscle, but I want to lose the weight before I start putting on muscle. I was like, everybody has this idea that that's the way that it's supposed to be. But what if you understood that muscle literally eats fat, right? You take a muscular person versus a skinny person and you get them to walk in the same 10 steps forward. The person who has muscle is burning a lot more calories than the person who doesn't have muscle. Isn't that beautiful, right? So more muscle you put on, the more energy you're going to be moving and consuming, right? Muscle is the best way to regulate the blood sugar. Our sugar has a sink to go into. Most of our issues with inflammation involve too much sugar. There's nowhere for that sugar to go. It's way too much in the environment. And you don't have to be fat to have problems with sugar, right? You could just have really, really high cortisol levels. And again, the function of putting enough of these basic compounds within your body is to allow the body to be in a place of rest and stillness and safety. When the body, like when you have a safe home to be in, a safe shelter to be in, your home, your first home is your body. When you have a safe home to be in and you're not stuck out in the weather, you're not worrying about you're too hot, you're too cold, you don't have food, right? When you're in that state, you're stressed. Your immediate needs are at threat, right? The body is no different. If you have a ton of processed foods in the diet, tons of sugary foods, that's what diabetes is, right? We're essentially starving. That sugar is not getting into the cell, and our nervous system feels chaotic and it feels not at rest, and we release more cortisol and the cycle yet continues. But get off that cycle. Start something new tomorrow. How do you feel when you start a new thing tomorrow? Tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow I make my bed. Tomorrow I wake up and I have a walk in the morning. Tomorrow I stretch my hamstrings in the morning. I'm doing something different tomorrow. I am going to line up my biochemistry different than every single day that I've done it so far, because I am sick of feeling fatigued. I'm sick of feeling stressed. And a lot of the times it takes people to get to a point where they end up in the emergency room or something tragic happens for them to wake up and be like, whoa, you know, all of this stuff, all of the nutrition, all of the exercise, I do need to do this. My body is not getting younger. I'm not going in a good direction. I need this shift. I need this change. And you can do it. When you make the decision, you are already doing it. Do not beat yourself up for what has happened in the past. Okay, everything that's happened in the past is so irrelevant. And the cell, when you understand the cell, this becomes so clear, because the cell is not a constant state. Like, you go look in the mirror, you are not the same person you were 5 minutes ago. There's so much happening under the surface. We can't even understand it, right? All of your cells go through replacement. We're going through life and death in our bodies constantly. So you can be whoever you want to be, like right now. You can already see yourself doing the morning routine, setting your biochemistry up tomorrow, having that amino and fatty acid breakfast tomorrow. If you see yourself doing it, it's already done. So be still and be in knowing. You don't have to live in the chaos and confusion when you are clear in what you're doing. And just know that over time, the body changes. When you stick towards the light, these amino and these fatty acids, they are code for light. Mitochondria is where our energy production comes from. It is where your light comes from, right? Spirit leaves the body one day. We will all die. Your spirit is beautiful. It is one of a kind. It is unique to this world. And the amount of amino and fatty acids, the way that you provide for your home, for your little cell babies, you'll show that. You'll see that. And yeah, so don't beat yourself up for what's happened in the past. Just focus on what can I do tomorrow to get into a better place, in a better state. And you got this. That's it. One day at a time, you got this. So anyway, if you found this video helpful, which I really hope that you do, you can like, share, or subscribe to support the channel. If you know anyone with mental health issues, or anyone feeling like they're going through an identity crisis, please share this video with them. I've been there in my journey. This is why I've been brought here. I've felt at times in my life that I had no idea who I was, and many, many dark nights of the soul have brought me to studying nutrition and keeping my physical vessel strong during these spiritually chaotic times. So you got this, and as always, good luck.